Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today we're discussing Farscape, Season 2, Episode 21, Liars, Guns and Money, Part 3, Plan B. The crew jailbreak John before time runs out. Was this a jailbreak or was it a heist?
It was a heist break.
Because they're kind of stealing John. He's a bit useless now.
He's lost his mind so many times.
It's gone. It's gone now. He's messed up.
He's so fully scrambled. I don't see him ever being normal again. Normal as in how he was before reaching this place. He'll always have some sort of mental problem going on.
So you reckon permanent damage has been done at this point?
If not, that's disingenuous to what he's experienced.
It would be strange if there was some point in the near future where he was just back to normal. That would be really out of character. It would be inconsistent with how the show develops characters.
I see a long road to recovery.
So you think he will recover?
No.
It's just going to be another downward spiral from here.
My guess is he'll always be a little off now.
That's just going to be another sort of scratch on his character, though, because there's a few things that have happened to him in this show so far that have permanently changed his character. The best example is when Stark, John, and Crace all had a turn in the Aurora chair, and then their characters all changed. Well, not Stark, because we never knew him prior, but John became a lot more disconnected, and Crace became a lot more introspective, and not a psycho.
I thought you were going to say Chris became more interesting.
He was in this episode?
With good reason, too. That it was a good excuse to bring Talon in.
Chris is at quite a nice point now because he starts appealing to the philosophy of morality when they want him to blow stuff up all of a sudden. And he's like, well, come on now.
Maybe you don't do that.
If it's not okay for everyone else, surely it's not okay for you. But he did it anyway.
Because he wants to fit in. He wants to be cool.
Didn't he just want to blow up Scorpius and save everyone?
That's part of being cool. A cool person wouldn't pass on the opportunity to blow up Scorpius.
I guess he is cool, seeing as Scorpius was killed
No, he's
by the
not
depository.
dead. No way.
What? Just like the last time 2 episodes ago where they said, thank goodness he's finally dead. You think we'll see Scorpius again?
Of course. For Scorpius to actually be dead, it has to be on screen, and more than likely will be very gruesome. And, like, he'll be shouting Crichton, and then his face will melt off or something.
It'll be like Durka. He's not going to be dead until they have his head on a stick.
Yeah, or his body gets ripped in half. Some kind of ripping.
So you're looking for confirmed visual identification of basically complete physical destruction.
Yeah. Maybe getting vaporized.
Oh no, I wouldn't believe that.
No, he needs to howl in pain, and it needs to be slow death. being vaporized is too easy for old Scorpy.
Yeah, they'd say, oh, we stored him in a buffer and he's back here now, Stark's being vaporized. It's not a big deal.
If anything, he's better for it.
Kind of. His plan was completely impossible.
That's fine. Crazy ideas always sound crazy until they work.
Did they work? Did it work? They didn't do his plan, really.
That was his plan, that they wouldn't follow his plan. He set this all up.
He came up with an overly complicated plan so that they would accept one that wasn't so complicated, but that they wouldn't have otherwise accepted because it was too simple.
Exactly.
It makes sense, but there's no real evidence.
I know, this is headcanon. I really like that Rigel was hanging out with Dirk's head.
It's his trophy.
It's his buddy now.
He is good at commanding people. He knows what works. So much happened in this episode that there's a lot of little bits I would like to talk about.
Okay, go on.
So the Vicarian blood trackers, Rorf and whatever his wife is called, Lorf or something?
Sure.
It turned out that the scent tracking was primarily a female trait.
I couldn't remember previous scenes that involved them sniffing, but is that consistent? I feel like we've seen him sniff.
It is 100% consistent.
Oh, that's awesome.
If you go back to season 1 and watch the episode on the planet, every single time there's a scent, it's his wife.
Oh, I love it
He
even more
sniffs
now.
something and he's like, what is that? And his wife is like, oh, it's such and such. They never mentioned it. It's a detail that's sewn in there that they leveraged much later. And I guess they had no real idea these characters would ever come back.
Yeah.
But it is completely consistent with the season 1 episode and the previous episode to this one.
Okay, I couldn't remember when we first met them, but I did remember when they're recruited for this heist that it's the female that identifies the smells.
Yep. Is this a coincidence? I don't think so. I think they sew details into the plots of episodes to leverage later.
Either way, it's amazing because, okay, let's say they planned it out. That's pretty cool that they put that in there, don't even use it in that initial episode, and then it pays off later. Or it was just someone rewatched it, and realized, hey, only she identifies smells. Let's make her the smell person.
It's good world building. You do good world building by adding in extra details that you don't reveal. Well, there's a lot more to it than that, I'm sure, but it feels a lot richer than... Okay, so if you just build upon what's there, you end up with some sort of large branching world where there's a sort of main plot thread and stuff branches off it, but none of it really connects together.
It usually ends up unwieldy when you get too far along.
Yes, so when you're 20 seasons into Star Trek, then it's just kind of gibberish. It always feels really rich when they loop back to a detail from before, but organically, something that wasn't brought up but fits correctly. And not in a retcon way, but more in a just, you didn't see that perspective.
It's there, but very surprising if anyone would pick up on that the first go around.
It makes me wonder if there's other details they put into episodes, but then never used.
Oh, probably.
If we keep coming up with headcanon for everything, then maybe some of them will be accurate.
That's my hope.
Scorpius plays Inception with John. Shared dream spaces.
I'm I'm gonna let that go. That's not what Inception is, but go on.
No, I know. That's some pretty cool tech that they have kicking about. They didn't even really bring up the fact that that's crazy.
Well, if you've made it this far, I think you can accept the shared dream space.
Yeah, it's cool, but not unexpected. I think John might have actually been quite surprised and excited about it if the circumstances were different.
Probably, yeah. One interesting thing about that they don't really go into is that he gets paralyzed in that dream thing. So then he's paralyzed outside, and that's the method of keeping John there instead of proper physical restraints. They go in his brain and paralyze him there.
Was he not restrained anyway?
I think he was, but lightly.
It's a good way of restraining someone. Well, I say that, it didn't work, but essentially the idea is good. Restrain them physically and mentally.
Yeah, it's like 2 locks on your bike.
Yes, the problem is that the same person can unlock both of them. Like, if you can get the physical restraints off, you can also get the mental restraints off. So it's like 2 locks on your bike, both with the same key. I still have tons of little things. I'll start firing through them. Scorpius knows that John is lying still.
About what?
Whatever he was lying about. I can't remember now. John says nothing forced him to go to Scorpius. He just decided to. Anyway, Scorpius seems to know when people are lying.
Pretty neat trick.
Yeah, that's still a thing.
That reminds me of later in the episode when John decides, I'm going to go to Scorpius, and then he gets knocked out by Aaron.
Yes, that's another thing. How many shows would have had like a sort of passionate pleading, like, no, you must look in your heart and do what's right. But Erin is so badass. She just says, no, you're not. Yeah, knocks him clean out and just carries him off.
That's a great moment and very Farscapey. Farscapey sounds like a bad rash.
It does. Speaking of bad rashes, there's a scene where Scorpius is angrily talking on the radio and there's a guy in the background just on fire.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool.
I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about it, but when it happened, I loved it. It's such a good detail. Of course, Scorpius doesn't care that the guy is writhing on the ground on fire. He's annoyed that things aren't going well.
When you see it, you expect it to be a few second effect shot, and then Scorpius starts talking, and you think, oh, he's not going to just talk in front of this guy for the whole scene. And then he does. Fantastic. Another little cool bit, Bakesh with the gauntlet. Did you notice he was walking around shooting the people that were on the ground?
I did notice.
He was making sure they were dead. That's almost cathartic to me. Like, how many shows do they run in and shoot everyone, and then one guy is still alive and he's at the last moment before he dies, pulls up a gun and shoots the protagonist, you know?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
They punch someone out and they're like, right, let's just open the vault or whatever time-consuming thing they're doing. But they don't know how long that guy's going to be out.
Right.
But Bakesh is going around killing them all, making sure they're dead. But that's what you would do if you're rushing into a massive shadow depository. Like, you have no illusion that these people are going to survive. You're going to kill them to make sure they're dead, because otherwise you will be killed.
It's a common sense precaution to take that you never see, and I was very happy when he was blasting people on the ground.
You never see it because it is a bit morally reprehensible. Like, I'm pretty sure that's some form of war crime. But in terms
That's fine. He's an alien.
Yeah, in practical terms, it's a sound strategy. I'm not advocating for war crime.
I think you are, but that's okay.
Here's a little thing that I thought was kind of silly. Aaron's broken night vision.
I was glad that didn't lead to something later. I thought it was going to be, oh no, my night vision's not working very well, and then they come to John and she shoots John. It was just, nope, this is sort of broken, but I'm the badass. I'm still going to kill, and this is going to lead to a joke.
I think, them distracting you from the fact that 3 dudes took out 200 heavily armed soldiers. I wasn't so hot on that one. It's kind of a laugh.
I have a tiny moment I want to bring up.
Go for it.
There's this shot earlier on where the little lights for the shared dream thing, it's out of focus, but it's in the way of Scorpius, so then you see these flattened colors of light on Scorpius's face. It's a neat little shot, and I appreciate when they try to make a scene more interesting just by the environment and not just simple, okay, you're in frame, say your lines, we're good.
The whole show is so visually dense. You kind of forget that there's just, 4 locations in this episode? The lobby, the corridor, Scorpius' room, and Moya. And I guess the vault room. It's not a huge place. They just do all sorts of cool shots and cool effects and just visually interesting and quite dense stuff throughout, and it makes it feel very kind of rich.
There are so many lasers. There are lasers everywhere in this episode. If you want lasers, just watch this episode on repeat.
Well, I like lasers in space and explosions and stuff.
There was a massive explosion.
There was. They went in the vault, and now they really are stinking rich.
For now, I have to imagine something horrible will happen and they'll get robbed.
By the next episode, they will have no money already.
Oh, that would be funny. I would actually really like that. Rigel spent it all on a statue of himself on some far-off planet that he'll never get to visit.
He's not that stupid.
It's an investment.
He is that vain, but he's not that stupid. Okay, other than all the cool stuff and the crazy stuff, there was quite a lot of pretty heavy plot lines going on here. Shall we start with the most banal one?
Yes.
Jothi is really boring.
He's annoying, stupid, angsty teen character now.
I don't like how he doesn't react to anything. Everyone pulls guns and he's just like, oh no. He doesn't even say, oh no, he's just like, I
exist.
Barely.
Yeah, that wouldn't even register in his head.
Similarly, he had absolutely no reaction to seeing John, the person they all risked their lives to rescue. He didn't say, like, why did we rescue this guy? He's just messed up or anything. He's just like, oh. That's it, just oh. And he complained to Dargo about something or other and then got angsty. I didn't really understand.
I don't know if this is the conversation you're talking about, but when Dargo asks him about the scar on his nose, hey, who gave that to you? And then says, you did. Everything wrong with my life is your fault.
The way he said that, I imagine that if he'd lived a completely peaceful life, he might just be rebelling against his parents and saying that sort of thing anyway.
Yeah.
He's okay.
No, he's not.
He's very bland, which in this show isn't great.
It sticks out if you're bland. This episode in particular is loaded with great characters. You can't bring your meh game when you have people getting shot on the ground and a guy blowing himself up to destroy a generator and other things.
Jothy does seem completely out of his depth. He's trying to be hardcore, but he's really in last place on that front.
He's so far behind that these string of blue shells he's getting will do nothing.
Yeah, so that's Jothy. Some more heavy stuff. Aaron was prepared to do anything to recruit Grace to save John. That was pretty dark.
It's only because she knows Grace is
gay?
It's not cruel enough to do anything extreme.
He's an actual psychopath, or he used to be.
He used to be. He's reformed.
Oh, that's really reassuring. And the darkest plotline is John at the end of the episode.
That made me really sad.
It was a hell of a note to end on.
Yeah, that's quite a line. I'm glad they took a long time to get to that point. They set the stage. It didn't feel like an exploitation of mental illness. He's been scrambled so much and messed with that I understood him reaching that point.
The fact that they put characters who have what could be described as mental illness or act or suffer through things which are comparable is pretty kind of unusual. Like a lot of shows, the characters go through things and just the other, whatever.
Yeah.
And they handle it pretty maturely in Farscape. It's not done for laughs, or it's not looked down upon. Like, it really just seems like John is genuinely suffering and they feel bad for him, and that's bad.
Basically.
And that's good.
Oh, it would be so bad if they had that line and they didn't lead to it properly, but thankfully we don't have that here.
For it to be believable that a character would say that, they would have to go through quite a lot. And he has been through quite a lot, so that makes sense. They did the equation right.
Good job. I can't hear that Daisy Daisy song without thinking of 2001.
That's probably why he was singing it.
I have to imagine. I mean, not so much anymore, but he did used to reference pop culture a lot, and that's a famous example of someone or something going crazy. Plus, he's in space, so a tiny part of his brain probably appreciated the irony.
Hey, he's dropping mad pop culture references.
Even to the brink.
That's all he has. And if you watch the show carefully, you'll realize it's all he's ever had.
Oh, it's a pacifying routine for him. Maybe not so much here, though.
So it's difficult to watch this ending and not wonder what might happen next.
That's true.
We have the season finale next, so what are your predictions? Do you have any idea where this is going to go from here?
No, but Scorpius is alive, for sure. I don't remember what happened to Nytera? What is her name?
Natira.
I don't know.
She ran away.
That's it?
Yeah, when they were taking a while, she ran off. Presumably she was killed along with Scorpius when the depository was blown up by Talon. So, maybe alive, maybe dead, who knows?
I hope Jothy runs off like the angsty teen that he is, runs away, and then Dargo doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Yep. You know what? He's a man, he needs to find his own journey, blah, blah, blah.
Uh,
Let me hang out with you chums some more.
I don't want to be like a Jothi apologist, so
Then don't.
yeah.
He doesn't need it.
Hey, he needs all he can get. His character is basically not a character.
His character arc is his bad hat.
Hey, I have some unit news.
Go on.
Did you know that 7,000 clances is a temperature? That's
I don't even remember
quite
that being
hot.
said.
It was the heat of the Xiang.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty hot, I think.
Probably. Also, Jachik was the heavy weight. They need to reference the same units a bit because they've made up a bunch of different temperature ones now.
To be fair, we have a bunch of different temperature units. Maybe they have the same problem.
They probably have it worse because they have a lot of different species and cultures. Chiana killed someone. She's done that before, but she did it again.
She's getting better.
Is she? I think she's actually getting worse.
Yeah, that seemed like you barely got that one.
She needs practice. Murder practice.
I was glad she did something, though. She's been kind of useless. And mostly until that point, all that happened was she had a gun pointed at her.
They have quite a lot of characters, and with the addition of all the mercenaries, there's so little screen time.
She has a fraction of Jothi's screen time, but she makes use of it.
Yeah, there you go. Do you have a quote from this episode which you would like to share?
Farewell, my friends, and thank you for teaching me to kill again.
It's a clever little line. Poor Zan. She looks really just distraught when he said that.
Oh, I didn't see her face. I was too busy laughing. I mean, you can look and laugh, but I didn't.
Yeah, you cannot multitask.
It's a fault of mine.
I just realized something. How is Bakesh going to get home? Because John gave him a lift to Moya.
Space Uber.
He's just going to like hitchhike or something?
Yeah, he seems like a hitchhiker.
I would not pick up that guy. His face has got metal where eyes should be, and he has a gun instead of an arm.
And a stitched mouth.
Yeah, but come on, don't judge him for how he looks. Anyone could have a stitched mouth. That's
You just described his plate face.
yeah, but only a maniac would have a plate face. Okay, the gun arm is really the key factor here. That's objectively an issue.
You wouldn't know it's a gun arm just looking at it. He could be in Fallout cosplay.
Yes, he could.
I don't know why I'm dropping all of these video game references all of a sudden.
Because this episode was a bit video gamey. Lots of shootouts,
They beat the level.
progressing from, place to place, breaking through doors.
They killed the boss who's going to later return.
I'm sure Scorpius is 100% dead. John clearly said that Scorpius is probably dead, and John is definitely reliable.
I was about to be annoyed that they all think he's dead, but he was in a building that collapsed. They don't know entertainment logic, though. We have to see him die.
The building was on some sort of planet that didn't look like it had a livable surface. Everything was on pillars. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to watch the next episode. Maybe Scorpius will be right back at it.
I hope he's in the very first shot.
The only way to find out is all of the ways of finding out.
I was so ready to pounce on you. I tell
Yeah,
you.
we've had this conversation so many times. Let's
I know.
go.
I'm going.
Bye.